In 1967, an Indian anthropologist named Triloknath Pandit led the first official professional expedition to North Sentinel Island. Pandit, hoping to study their way of life, was one of the few to venture close to the island after decades of failed and violent attempts by outsiders to make contact. Pandit didn't actually step foot on the island though. Instead, he and his team stayed at a safe distance, watching the Sentinelese from the shore. But they did end up making a bit of contact. The Sentinelese came up, they were able to exchange some gifts. They saw a few people standing on the beach, but no one was trying to make friends or wave hello necessarily. It wasn't exactly an action-packed trip, but Pandit's trip did show that maybe you could observe the tribe without completely pissing them off. His expedition started a new wave of more respectful and cautious approaches to the island though, with people realizing that the tribe just wanted to be left alone. In 1977, the crew of the cargo ship MV Russley had an encounter with the Sentinelese. The Russley ran aground near North Sentinel Island during a storm. The Sentinelese showed up to inspect the wreckage. The islanders, who were no strangers to scavenging and using what they found, got a little too interested in the ship's iron supplies. They arrived on makeshift boats, armed with bows and arrows. The crew had been warned about the dangers of interacting with the tribe, so they kept their distance, but the Sentinelese weren't about to just ignore the wrecked ship. They started to scavenge, focusing on the metal parts of the ship, which they probably found useful for their tools or weapons. At first, the crew and the Sentinelese just kind of watched each other. The crew, realizing the tribe was interested in the ship's cargo, probably stayed back, hoping not to provoke any aggression, but the Sentinelese weren't content to just observe. They fired arrows at the crew. According to some reports, the crew returned fire with flares, but it wasn't a full-on battle, it was more of a standoff. Thankfully, in the end, the crew of the ship managed to be rescued. In 1981, the MV Primrose, a cargo ship, ran aground near North Sentinel Island, much like the MV Russley years earlier. The ship was stranded on the reef, and the crew found themselves in a bit of a tricky situation. As they sat there waiting for help, the Sentinelese showed up. The crew reported seeing the islanders watching them from a distance, probably curious about the ship and its cargo. The Sentinelese, as always, were wary of strangers, and it didn't take long for tensions to rise. At one point, a small group of islanders made their way closer to the ship, wielding their bows and arrows. The crew responded cautiously, and there was no reported confrontation. Fortunately, a rescue operation had been sent out, and the crew was taken to safety before things escalated.